Awesome. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, it is 1 o'clock. Let's get started. Anne, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being with us today. I'm Ann Kestner. I'm one of the co-vice presidents for professional advancement at AFPLI, along with Rebecca Martinez. We're really happy to be able to present this to you guys today on behalf of AFPLI, which, as you know, provides a lot of educational resources here on Long Island for our development professionals. And we also have Jamie McGrade from Guide Dog Foundation and Mary Fu from Helen Keller, who are also board members and will be participating with us today. If you have questions through the webinar, please feel free to use the chat function on the right of your screen. We'll moderate some Q&A. We'll have some time for that towards the end. I'll try to sort of gather them together as we go. And I think that's the housekeeping for today. Right. Just a shout out for AFPLI. If you're not a member, we'd really love to have you. I think at this time, it's really important for all of us to be sharing information about different resources out there, especially today's topic, which is events and what to do when things are canceled. I think all of us are dealing with that on some level, especially in Long Island, where we have so many events that really do help us raise important money for our organization. So if you're interested in joining, you can visit our website, afpli.org, or email us at info@afpli.org. Okay, and I think I will introduce our wonderful presenter today, Bobby D. For those of you who don't know him, he is a co-founder of Inspire Hearts Foundation, fundraising, excuse me, and has over 20 years of event fundraising with over 100 million raised for nonprofits across the nation. Bobby D and his partner Erin created Inspire Hearts Foundation fundraising, to reimagine special events. By combining technologies with advanced fundraising strategies and producing giving moments, their virtual event fundraising service helps create an experience that inspires donors to fund your mission. They work with a lot of organizations here on Long Island and New York City, including some of our board members' organizations too, like Long Island Cares, Family Service League, Island Harvest, Gavin's Got Heart, American Heart Associations, and many more. So they're proud to help our Long Island neighbors make our community a better place. And Bobby, if you want to take it away.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. Yes, Long Island holds a special place in our heart. This is our backyard. You are all of our neighbors. I know that we have some friends that are visiting from other parts of the country, but we love Long Island, and it is a very, very tight community here, and Long Islanders love to help Long Islanders. So this is an honor for me to be here. Erin wishes she could join. She's upstairs on another call, but then also doing the stay-at-home teacher position too. So is handling all of that. But yes, if there's any questions down below, there's a Q&A button. Please click that Q&A button and put in any questions that you have. And if you do like a question, you can thumbs up it. The questions that get the most thumbs up, we're going to make sure that we answer. So please, ask over there. And then also we've got the chat going. So just, have some conversations over there. If you see some friends, connect with them there. If we can have a conversation over there. This is a new virtual world that we're doing here. So we're going to get rolling here. I'm going to share my screen and get this all kicked off here. All right, here we go. All right. There we go. All right. So yes, we are in the new normal, and what a normal it is. I know that there's a lot of people out there that have experienced this, especially in the nonprofit world, and it continues to evolve in many, many different ways. And what we're here to do is to continue to really thrive within that evolution. Everything changes the constant that we have to handle. So again, I do want to thank AFP Long Island chapter for having me be a part of this. And now I have really dove deep into the virtual fundraising events. I've been doing events for over 20 years, and pretty much the last, or the next 3 months is pretty wide open because we no longer have live events that we're conducting. However, we're working with a lot of organizations, consulting. We're actually doing their live fundraising from our studio that we have here in Long Island. So I'm really, really happy to be here and be a part of this. All right. It really is going to be okay, my friends. We're in this together, and the better we work together, we can really make this happen. We are right now truly creating the future of fundraising. So I've got a Q&A that I'm going to pop up here, and a poll that I'm going to pop up here, and everybody, please, if you would, answer that. Okay, here we go. Why is that not working? Interesting. Okay. Anyways, you know what? I have a better idea. In the chat there, if you had an event that was canceled, do me a favor, just type in canceled. If your event was postponed, type postponed. If you stayed the course, stay the course. If you're looking or thinking about evolving into something else, let us know what that is. Okay, postponed, canceled, postponed, going virtual. I like that. Contemplating, postponed, canceled. Multiple clients, some canceled, some postponed. Maybe going virtual, postponed, Quite big triple question mark. Golf outing going virtual. Love that. Virtual, canceled. Ugh. Postponed, some virtual for one. Playing near on the golf outing. Yep, we'll talk a little bit about that too today. Some canceled. All of the above. Waiting to evaluate in August, postpone golf. Okay, so lots of postpones, lots of cancels, and lots of virtual options too. So I'm really, really excited to hear that and to see that. All right, so here we go. Let's keep going. So here, there we go. Again, Bobby D, Long Island. Love this. Love being an auctioneer, but now we are moving into the virtual world now. All right, so here what we're doing here today is really talking about the plan A through plan V. So do you keep the date, follow through? Some had. I know that our Long Island Cares event was literally the first event that we had to have canceled or postponed until later. So there were, going to be going forward. But it changed like that. And I know that some groups kind of right there in the beginning of March stayed the course, made it happen. I know there's some that are in summer, that are in early fall, that are probably just going to keep going. But if your event's June, maybe early July, we're still kind of like, yeah, we're not sure what's going on. I know lots of postpones, lots of cancels, and then plan V. We're going to really, really talk about plan B today. And what we're here to do is really evolve our thinking, reimagine what events could and will be. I'm inviting everybody to think outside the proverbial ballroom, or outside of the golf course, or outside of whatever your event might have been. Let's think outside that box, and that's what I love about the opportunity with virtual events, is that we're going to be able to do exactly that. We truly have a virtual blank slate ahead of us, and we're going to be able to fill that up and make it happen and really engage more of our donors and raise more money, because we still have so many missions that we need to fund, and especially some missions right now that are more critical than ever. All right, so here we go. So there, we already did that. Now, so if you are keeping this date, making sure that you're communicating, and this goes across with all events, is honest, open, direct communication with your attendees. If this is a paid event, be prepared for that refund question. If you're in chat, throw up if you did give some refunds, or if people did ask refunds, we can chat a little bit about that. Maybe ask anybody that's feeling with symptoms. It's okay, just stay home. And I'm kind of talking about, the June, July events that are coming up. And then also mentioning that utmost safety is going to happen. So now, keeping that date, follow through, again, communicate with the venue, communicate with the vendors, ask what the plan was, and kind of what the contract reads, and how to, utilize different special precautions as we do. And then also have that conversation of how do we address that elephant in the room. Now, events, we haven't done any events yet, but when we are able to gather and we get there, what are we going to say about this? What are we going to say about what happened? Are we just going to completely ignore it? Or are we going to say, all right, hey, we're here, we've went through this, and now we're able to be back together, and now we're able to elevate within this. And then keeping the, the safety measures out there, signage, can you shorten the program? Could we have a larger disbursement, so that our social distance can be attained? And then also, requesting disposable serviceware, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Mary said they had just a few refunds, which is good. And that's what we're hearing across the nation as well, is that, donors understand what's going on, and they're being, very generous within converting that ticket sale or that ticket price into just a straight donation. So now we're going to talk about postponement until a later date. So now, later in the summer. So now what used to be the kind of late season kind of ended up in June. But now I'm sure there's events going into July. There's a lot of events that are starting to pop up into August, and then September is going to be heavy. October, woo, November, wow. And then I know that there's going to be quite a few December events that are going to be coming out. And I know for us Long Islanders, that's a little sketchy just due to the fact of the wonderful weather. But like, if it's anything like our 2020 winter, it's the winter that never happened. It was just a dismal long spring or long fall. Do you cancel that event until 2021? I mean, is that an option here? Can your organization and your bank account handle that? I mean, could it handle a full postponement for an entire year? Could you get more creative within your fundraising? And we're definitely going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about the creative virtual elements that we can add to that to help fill in that gap, or help you create something that never even happened and to raise more and more money. So what are your options within all of that? All right, so here it is, summer, fall. Our fall and early winters are completely filling up fast. Groups that were already having a fall or winter event, I mean, they've already had the Fridays and the Saturdays, already booked. I mean, sure, they've already had the Thursdays booked, and now taking these events and rolling them over into that, you're gonna, vendors, venues, donors, there's gonna be a lot of competition for attention and engagement within that space. So this is where you have to be creative about what your date is. If you were normally like a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, could you be a Sunday? Could you be a Monday? How do you stand out? How do you fit in there with the vendor? And then how do you stand out among your donors as well? What's going to happen now when we have all of these events that are going to happen this summer and fall? We're going to have event fatigue. We're going to have donor fatigue. There's going to be wallet fatigue. So it's looking at that. What we're suggesting with our clients is try to be first to the pump, get in early, because by the time those October and November dates are going to happen, there might not be as much money that's out there. But good news for those that are October and November events. The way that we do this is again, creativity, doing better fundraising, and getting out there and really showing that impact that you have. And I mean, if you haven't been doing this, I'm sure you already have, but keep those impact messages going out. Talk about the importance of why your donors are a part of your mission. So yes, again, vendors, venues, auctioneers, ambassadors may already be booked, but like us with Inspire Hearts, we've got a huge team, and I know lots of other vendors out there that have big teams, so that we can multiply, we can replicate, the services. I know there's only one venue that you might be working with, and that's where you have to get creative with the dates. But have those conversations, get out there. All right, so here again, keeping that conversation open with the donors, calling all the donors, showing them that thank you for the support. I know a lot of you have already been doing that, is just getting on the phone, checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. And many times you'll receive that unsolicited, gift, but it's just more about checking in, keeping that relationship connected, and continue to have them focus upon you versus all of the other million things that there are to focus on, especially in this time and age. But if they can focus upon you, dive within your social media, really get within your website, or start to watch videos, whatever, this is going to keep their focus upon you and your mission and the impact you're having. Now, the same thing goes with sponsors as well. Connecting with your sponsors beyond just a business transaction, beyond a marketing transaction. They are your philanthropic partners. They're working with you to have produced what the event was, but now as we are evolving this event, let's create some new opportunities with them and deepen that relationship. Again, thanking them for the support, adjusting whatever that agreement might be, that's evolving that. Many times groups are taking what used to be an event sponsor only and now moving them into a full year-round sponsor, and then giving them all of that perks within that. Or they're evolving their programs, like, okay, so instead of just helping us with one event as a sponsor, they're doing multiple events, throughout that. So there's a lot of opportunities there to create a higher value sponsorship relationship. Again, always keep that impact going out there, and continue to thank the donors for the support, whether financially, or, or within the socials, whatever it might be. Keep getting it out there. And once we get that date set, let's communicate that new date with full transparency and passion for that. Whether this is a live event or this is a virtual event, we need to get everybody on board, stakeholders, board members, committee members, volunteers, staff, everyone. Yes, this is what we're doing, and we're going to make this happen, and it's going to be as great as it ever can be. And sometimes just putting that positivity out there and that passion behind that is really what it takes. I know there's going to be a lot of naysayers that are like, this is never going to work. This is never going to work. You guys are crazy. Well, we don't know until we try. That's the key with it. I mean, just like with everything, we don't know until we try, but at least using your best practices and putting it forward and a positive attitude. So now, canceled events, again, if you did have to cancel, just call those stakeholders personally, let them know what the decision was, contact all attendees, sponsors, vendors with clear, consistent messaging. This is why we decided to cancel, or this is why we're rolling this over, later. Are you canceling? Or, I mean, even just scheduling. So, I mean, it's looking at that. And if you haven't yet to decide, and I know a lot of groups out there right now are yet to decide when that date is, it's okay to list it as to be determined. It's gonna happen. We're excited about it. We're just waiting to figure out when that will happen. And again, keep communicating the refund policy, and then give those donors that opportunity to help you in different ways. Whether it is sharing your message socially, maybe it's them connecting with their network, having conversations about all the great work that you're doing. It's all about helping them to help you. We actually have a social media toolkit that we're providing to donors and to board members to get out there and have those conversations, but providing them with the assets, the videos, the pictures, the stories, the inspirational quotes, all of those things, and then running that through your nonprofit filter. And then when that happens, it gets out there. Then now it just keeps growing, that conversation. And then again, being creative with the alternatives to honor the sponsorship commitments. How can we evolve this? How can we keep that philanthropic partnership alive? And how can we really showcase them even more, and creating more and more engagement, more and more value, and more impressions, because that's what sponsors are really, really looking for. All right, here we go. Again, everybody understands. Some people are going to be like, that's okay. We were going to come to the event anyways, and that's okay. But again, being purposeful, creative, and exploring event alternatives like virtual events, smaller events, maybe donor-led events. There's some groups that are having conversations about what used to be kind of the table, kind of setup where we would be at a gala, or we would be at an event, or like kind of the Benavon model where, you're a table and you're a table host. You bring out a table of 10 or 12 people and you're all together in this big space. Well, taking that on a much more micro scale, have your table host or your event host to continue to reach out for 10 or 12 of their friends, and then gather and create their own Zoom meeting. And then you could have one of the development team members of your nonprofit join in on that, share your message, share your videos, and maybe make that very simple ask within kind of that Zoom room area. So that's what more donor-led events are. And here it is, thinking creatively, working with your donors. They want to help, especially in this time. We all want to be connected, and we want to be a part of something bigger and something better. And what better way than helping your nonprofit to succeed, make an impact in the world. All right. Let's go. Here we are. Okay, so here's some phrases to be using in the communication. I'm sure everybody has their COVID-19 email that went out in many different forms. I mean, I know I received 10,000 of them, but here it is, keeping that communication consistent. If you haven't done it, you can do it. If you need to evolve, here's some ideas within that. All right, so I just want to see. I'm going to check in on the Q&A right now. If we got any questions that are coming in. All right. Okay. All of the above. Okay, great. So if there's any questions that keep coming in, put them in on that question and answer. I mean, again, open book. I'm here to share as much information as I can with you. So now we're going to move into the good stuff. All right. Ooh, open your mind, open your brains, and really, we're going to start talking about the big world of virtual events. Ooh, I did have a question come in here. Let's check that. How do we effectively fundraise now for a July event? Great question. So again, it's getting that message that's out there. And I'm sure you're probably talking about your sponsorships, building that kind of that overhead coverage leading into that July event, being excited about that July event and when it's coming and when it's going to happen, and talking about these are the steps that we're taking. And we want you as the sponsor to help us to be a part of this, and showing extra love, showing extra excitement, getting them out there virtually, and then letting people see them to help us to fundraise within that. And hopefully we can answer that a bit deeper. I do have a special guest with me today as we are talking to virtual events. Look at.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good to see you in your virtual states. We're excited?
Yes.
Oh, I'm Erin, and I'm also a Long Islander. So stoked to be with all of you here today. And at least the weather's getting a little bit nicer, so we have that going for us.
That's right. Awesome. Well, good. Well, you can hang out with us for a few moments. I know
Yeah,
you got to
sure.
hop off, but we're just right into the point where we're talking about virtual events.
Hey, can I just ask that question that
For
you
sure.
just had that came in? I kind of heard them talking about how to fundraise now for the events going further. I think that's something that people are really afraid of is kind of if they ask now, how does that feel? Because right now is the middle of crisis time. So
Right.
asking now for those events coming forward. And I think that that's very true. I just think you also need to be very sensitive about who we are and where we are, as well as knowing like what type of events, what type of organizations. For example, one of our clients just recently they actually got their gala. It happened. It was rocket. It happened March 6th.
Yep.
And they did incredibly well, blew out all of their numbers. It was a really difficult room. We worked really hard, but they recently just did another ask. They just said, which is unheard of, to fundraise and then fundraise.
Right.
And they went back out and they were like, look, we really need it right now. And just were very, very honest. And it happens to be a homeless shelter, and it really tied in with what they were needing at the time. And they were very honest about why they needed it now. And I think that that's what we all need right now is the honesty. So I think if you're going to be fundraising right now for a future event, or even if you're pushing off of an event or heading towards your virtual event, really sharing as honestly as possible will give you the most success. So really just being transparent and being like, oh my gosh, we're sinking too. We need all of your help.
All right. And that's great. And it's so true that you don't get it unless you ask. And it's real telling that story. Okay, here we go. So now we're gonna start diving into virtual events. I just watched The Matrix the other day. There is no spoon. So just be prepared for that. I know, super dorky, but it's okay.
Yeah, nobody gets it.
No, somebody does out there. Anyways, here we are. There's types of virtual events. Here we are: the virtual golf tournament, the virtual gala, the virtual wine tasting, the virtual poker tournament, the virtual breakfast, brunch, lunch, virtual dance party, and so many more. And this is where you get to take that blank slate of what the virtual world is and really apply your own special recipe to it. This is taking possibly what you already have and evolving it into something that can be, or creating something that never was. There's a group, a humane society in the Southwest that I worked with that created, now that we weren't having basketball, they created it was a puppy final four of all the humane societies in the sector, and whoever raised the most money continued to go on into the bracket. So it was them thinking creatively in the space that they are. So it was pretty cool. So it's taking what you had and evolving, or creating a completely new piece.
Where's virtual flip cup?
Virtual flip cup? Okay, that can go right there next to virtual cornhole. I know you love that. Okay, so we just had a question come in about the virtual golf outing. If we're unable to proceed with our golf outing and our attendees are used to a certain level event with giveaways, is it okay if we don't have what we normally give away? Also, how can we salvage the goods and services auction and silent auction, since we may not be able to get the items we have been asking for due to businesses, kind of holding back, which we're going to talk about and how to do that. There are businesses that still, want to be, they want to be helpful, especially restaurants. I mean, they're looking for that exposure. They're looking to get people in their doors. So it's talking with your local restaurant partners and finding out ways that you can engage within them and work together within all of that. And I know we just had a lumber delivery happen, and they're still working. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that are
We got
keep
the
going.
oyster delivery.
And we did, yeah. Yes, we'd had some lucky 13s.
You in Oyster Bay, get out there, ask your local baymans are delivering. But also, kind of what Bobby's talking to, I don't know if you saw about Gallagher's that just donated all of their 20-year-old steaks.
Oh, wow.
All of their aged meats. They just donated all of it to all the firemen in New York City.
Oh my gosh.
So firemen just had to walk in and pick it up.
Wow.
So people have food that they're trying to get rid of, and
Right.
there's ways that it can be through your donors as well. So if you want to partner up with some of them, think about it that way.
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of fills the stuff gap. And stuff is evolving, and stuff, kind of the giveaways, the auction items. And that's why we created Inspire Hearts Fundraising. It's still a very transactional model of giving. I know Erin loves the Chinese auction.
Just can't say those words.
We don't say that. We prefer that you use that. Anyways,
Raffles.
raffles. fishbowl raffle. But then what we're trying to do is evolve this beyond just a transactional giving. We're going to give to get. It's more of a transformational. It's how are you, the donor, able to impact the mission and using a virtual event to impact that mission and make that connection. Because the big thing is all about, my guy, he fell down. Anyways.
Isn't that guy gross, guy?
No, he's awesome.
So weird.
Anyways, so you're talking about
wait. So
community,
I just want to go
connection.
back to here to talking about the stuff aspect of it. In today's era, is that your donors are not going to be wanting stuff.
Right.
I mean, lay it out there plain and simple, is that they understand. They want to help their community. They want to help their people. But looking at the stuff that we've normally looked at, and hey, we come from backgrounds of auctioneers. We love selling stuff, so we get it. But I think that it's going to look frivolous to your donors more than it's going to look revenue generating. So again, this is going to come more with some honesty. I think you talk about that a little bit later.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We're going to talk about that. And Erin, for you, it's all about connecting. It's all about building the community. And that's what we're able to do no matter what event it is. Virtual blank event is really that's what we're trying to do here. All right. So let's go here. So there's the different types of virtual events that are out there. So there's your online auction only, or there's the online silent auction, and then there's the live auction. There's some great technologies that we're able to go and do the live auction chant.
Oh, I'm doing the chant right now. So on point. 100 bid, now 2 to go 200, now 300, but go 300 there, now 400 to go 400, 400 bid, now 5 to go 500, but go.
Yeah, so like that. So it's we still create that and have that, and then there's the evolution from that. We are the big proponents of fund a need. We're the big proponents of the paddle raise, all of that. So now we're evolving that into a more collective and community giving experience. Virtual events have been going on since 1966. Yes, the Jerry Lewis style telethon, literally from 1966, telling a beautiful story, broadcasting it out to the nation, and then allowing those donors to be engaged. And somehow back then, it was they picked up the telephone and they made a donation that way.
It's still happening. They're still doing it. They are absolutely doing them exactly the same ways. Elton John just did one a couple days ago.
Right.
They're really all still happening, the telethon styles. So this is a way to really keep people connected, and that's important. And again, think about the ways that those events happened. You know, I'm sure you all flipped through the channels at some point in time, late night, saw them all picking up handheld phones or all in back. Oh, I got this, somebody just donated $1,000. They all got really excited about it. It was about the community aspect of it. So I think remembering that as going forward, this is not scary. Like for some reason, it feels very scary, like
very
virtual event sounds like a science fiction movie, right? But it's really not as scary. It's really been around, and it's really a way to move. It's fine.
Yeah. And so here, as we go through the different types of virtual events, so then there's the virtual live gala. That's the space that Erin and I have been in, for a long time, was the live gala. But now how do we take that same experience and create that virtually? There's been so many live galas. We've got some great case studies on our website. We keep putting more out there, but it's creating that production. It's creating that entertainment. It's creating that exciting period within that, but then it's also that inspiration and then that motivation, into the call to action. And then it's the celebrate. It's like, yay. And however you want to take that program and design that is, it's absolutely amazing. So then there are different ways to create multiple venues, donor ambassador parties. We kind of talked about the Zoom room fundraising where you have your ambassadors, that are there, but then we can have that to where everybody really gets connected together. So we're going to talk a bit about now kind of how to do this. Now there is the old school, or not old school, more DIY, starting from the cell phone. You have everything that you would ever need to use and create a virtual event right here, to all the way transitioning or creating a professionally produced live stream event like the Elton John telethon that they spent millions of, and I don't know if they spent $1 million, but maybe $500,000, but they raised like $2.8 million. So it's all ROI. It's how do you want to create that production and how do you want to get that out there? Some venues are allowing their nonprofit partners to continue to utilize the venue for the date that they had, utilize the AV, the video, all of those components, because a lot of those times those venues have all of that technology in-house and they already have the backdrop and they already can create that. So that's a great way, and again, using social distancing regulations.
Right. So something I just want to back up to what you were just talking about with the show that was just on recently and how much it cost to produce, as well as how much they made. Yes, they made 2.0 in an appeal, but they also have advertisement space.
Sponsors.
You can have sponsors. You can have little video clips of your sponsors throughout your event. These people, if you are going to be using AV systems, everybody needs promotion right now.
Right.
So there's tons of ways to cross promote with your vendors in these galas. So in a virtual event, how can you think of different ways to incorporate them through all of it?
Interesting. I just got a question here from Kathy. New York State Gaming said online auctions are illegal. Interesting. I'm going to check into that. First time I've ever heard of that. So we're going to check into that.
Wouldn't that mean eBay was illegal?
Yeah, like eBay or any online auction method. Maybe online raffles might be. So there's a difference between auctions and raffles. Maybe that was. But we're going to check into that. I'm going to get back and we're going to figure that out. And then a mechanism to charge folks to attend the virtual event by issuing them an unshareable or dedicated ID to log in. Yes, there's absolute ways to do that, especially now with the new Zoom updates that they're creating within that. There are ways to do that. So we're gonna move into here. So right now, let me do a time check. Okay, we're at 1:30, so we have about 30 minutes left, which is great. Keep those questions in. We love that. So online fundraising. So there are lots of ways to fundraise online. And these are just a list of the vendors. I've actually had a conversation with every one of these vendors. I'm putting out a video every couple days with those conversations as a resource for you, the nonprofit, to hear directly from those organizations. What makes them different? How much are they charging? What are some tips and tricks to get out there? And the spectrum of what these technology pieces are, I mean, could go from free, up to a few $1,000s. But this is what you're really the way that your donors are able to engage with you in that fundraising. This is where, ticketing comes in, online auctions can come in, the paddle raise, the fund a need, which is just pure donations, can come in through there. All of those components really can drive through one of these platforms that are there. Now, I'm sure you probably see some that are very, very similar to what's something you've used, but then there's also probably some new ones that are on here too. There's groups like Cheerful and Classy and Fundraise that are very broad spectrum, which are your CRMs, which are your peer-to-peers. They integrate with Facebook. They still do online giving, all of those components, whereas something like Auction Frogs could just be your online auction. Now, if you go to the bottom right, you have Tiltify and Twitch. So now, a few days before the Elton John thing, there was a thing called Twitch Stream Aid. And what that was is there was a bunch of celebrities, a bunch of entertainers, musicians that broadcast this out into their network and said, we are going to be on this platform called Twitch. Now, Twitch is like YouTube or Facebook or Vimeo or all of those platforms, but it's usually for gamers. But now they're evolving that into just a pure streaming platform to where people can do whatever they want on there. And then they use a platform like Tiltify to put a screen, kind of it's a layer that goes over the video, and then people can just click a button and donate. Or there's a rewards button. Maybe somebody clicks a $50 donation and then they get shipped a t-shirt, or they, make a $500 donation and they get a bottle of champagne. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that they can do that. But within 4 hours of the Twitch live stream, the stream aid, they raised $2.3 million.
Well, a lot of it was to pay to play. So
Yeah.
It was like, if you were going to donate, you get an opportunity to play with certain people, to gamify with certain, and these were not big gamers. These were like, I saw like really cool chop chefs and stuff doing it.
Yeah. And that, again, as we're thinking and evolving the conversations of how do you create these experiences. I mean, how cool would that be to play Mario Kart, with one of the Rangers, like the Rangers goalie or something like that? I mean, it'd be awesome,
Or Islander. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think that what you're tapping at, and again, to remember here, is going to be who your community is. So what is your community into, and unify them. Where do they belong, and bring them in together? And I think that that's a great opportunity. That's something very different. So that works really great, especially with like your golf guys.
Totally. All right.
Girls.
So here we go. Let's move into our next piece here. So where do you stream these live events? Where can you put these? Again, Facebook Live. Everybody right now could host a live stream with their Facebook Live, whether it's with their computer or with their phone. Self-hosted, there's some groups that are doing all of the hosting themselves and then putting it through their own website. What a better way to get people to come into your website than to self-host it? Look, www.yournonprofit.org. this is where the live stream is going to be. And there's ways that you can do that and embed that within there. And then there's Skype, and we've already talked about Twitch. There's Vimeo, which is actually a very good platform for private schools, churches, other private organizations that don't want to broadcast that link out into the world. You can create a private stream through Vimeo, and it's very, very high quality. Then you have YouTube Live. If you do want to broadcast out into the world and try to engage as many as possible, that's a great way. And then there's the Zoom and the GoToMeeting and the different webinar styles that are out there. So it's all about using the right tool for the job of what you're trying to accomplish.
So I just want to address, there was a question that came in about having a not so tech savvy audience, right? And because I deal with this with my beautiful father who lives in another state who is not so tech savvy, and what we deal with on a daily basis because he calls into video call and read books to our kids. What's really cool here is that you need to have this interaction with your donors. And we always talk about the touch with your donors. And that's something that every development officer understands. This is really going out, meeting with them, having the coffees and all of that. So you can't really do that now. But if you called them and said, hey, I'm going to set up this, this call with you, and you're going to be testing this out for us. We're going to walk you through, set you up and how to do it. One, you have more time with this person and they're going to be more endeared to you. And two, they are going to understand a little bit more. So no, I don't want you to just throw them an invitation and be like, hey, join us. No, I really want you to reach out and be like, we're going to do a practice here. We want everybody to get on board. We want everybody to see what it's like. I did a reunion the other day for our high school, and a bunch of our friends that haven't been together in 20 years. And we all got together on a Zoom call, and we use it as a practice for business meetings because we're the ones that'll tell each other exactly how it is. And they're like, hey, so-and-so, you're the one that like looks like this on the camera, like there was all the adjustments and all of that. So do practice runs and let them feel engaged and excited by it, and let them feel empowered by it. And it really connects you to them.
Right. And some other tips that you can do for those that aren't as tech savvy. I mean, everybody has a phone now, and most people that can go onto Facebook, again, like our parents, no problem. They can buy things on Amazon. It's the same experience that's with that. If there are some that still are having some difficulties, you could create a hotline. People call in. Here, I don't understand how to do this. Call in. We've got our Geek Squad, and they're ready to go and answer any questions. You could create videos here. This is how you register. This is how you sign up. This is how you put your credit card on file. This is how you bid in the auction. This is how you make a donation. There's ways that you can do that to just really make it very, very simple. I'm all about kissing it, keeping it super, super simple. Put a big red button on your website. Click here for virtual event. Bam, right there. So there's some tips and tricks that you can do within that. So here we go. So let's move into.
And you're sharing all these slides with everybody.
Oh yeah, everybody gets the slides and
the video.
The video. Yes.
Hey, video friends.
So here we are. Here's some different webinar platforms that you can utilize. Again, finding the right tool for the job. Find out what works for you. Find out what works best for your kind of your demographic, for your contingent. I mean, there's some groups that have very, very young demographic. That Twitch is great. There's others that are kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Then that's where Facebook Live might be able to just come in. But yes, keep it very, very simple. All right. So here we are. Good news. Good news. There's new technologies. If we were in the situation that we are in currently 5 years ago, none of this would be possible. I mean, there was Skype. I mean, remember Skype 5 years ago? You could barely see the other person. It was so pixelated. But here we are. I mean, we have almost 100 people that are joining us right now, and we're having a direct conversation with you. And there's only like a 2 or 3 second delay, within that. And then that's absolutely amazing. And the new audiences. This is what really gets me and Erin the most excited about being able to cast that net as wide and as far as possible. Because think about this: how many people would come to a gala?
300.
300. Okay. So now everyone, I'd like you to just take a second, click over to your Facebook page, find out how many people like you on Facebook. This happened to a group I was talking with in Los Angeles last week, and they were doing a brunch, and they were hoping for 400 to 450 people there. They had 8,500 people on their Facebook. I'm like, well, there's no way you can have, I mean, you'd have to have a stadium to bring 8,500 people in to be a part of this event. live, but now virtually, they're going to have an opportunity to really cast that out and engage as many of those people that are not only following them on Facebook, their donor database, their email database. How many people are on your database? How many people are following you on Instagram? And how do you get that net out there far and wide? And then this is where the next level thinking of, and this is where the Stream Aid works so well. This is where the Elton John piece works so well, is all of those people that are involved within that are all what they call influencers, or people that have a network. They have a network of people that are in their circle of influence. So think about your own donor database and think about the circle of influence that each one of those donors have. So now you're going to create this. Sure, you have 8,500 people on your Facebook page, but now maybe you have someone that has, like me, I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. What if you engaged me and it got me to be involved in this and shared the information out there and said, look, there's this virtual event that I'm a part of. This is a great organization that I absolutely love. So not only is it your people, but it's also my people. And Erin's got a ton of followers. So now we have Erin be a part of that. So now it just continues to grow and grow. And if done effectively and done the right way with a high production, you could have tens of thousands of people at your event. And that's where you can double down on the people. And even if they give you micro donations, $5, $10 a month, whatever it might be, you're really casting that net out there and you're finding new people to have conversations with. You're creating new relationships. You're getting people more involved with your organization within your mission. And that's what fundraising is. That's where we can really get out there and do that.
Well, that's what happened with the birthdays.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what happened with the Facebook birthdays. We're going to fundraise for my birthday. And I mean, look how popular that was. I mean, there's the different giving days that are out there, and it is really exciting. So if you can come in with that idea to open those opportunities up, you really could be tapping into some potential that you had no idea that even existed until you've actually done this. So what is exciting also about where we are at in this world is literally this whole nutty stuff, what we call the new normal, is giving us a time to take a step back, reflect, and I hate using the word pivot, but you can pivot what your current fundraising plan is, re-strategize, set a new plan out there, create this plan V, and make that happen. So even if you are having a live event, I don't know, say, in August or September, October, or whatever, what are you going to do now? And what could you do now to create something like this, to cast that net out there and get people involved? And then when you're having that live event out here, what could you do to then encourage them to be a part of that? That's how the circle grows. That's how that happens. And then also strategies with your sponsors. Now here's a great question. How do we, it actually came from the Q&A. I'm going to go right here and pull up the Q&A. Okay, here we are. If you're holding a virtual event, this is from our friend Robert. If you're holding a virtual event, what are the different ways to connect and offer sponsor benefits? Instead of receiving tickets or a table or sponsor listing besides pre-event virtual acknowledgement, what else can be done? Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for asking that great question. So Erin, at a normal gala or golf tournament or breakfast or run or whatever, and someone is a sponsor, I mean, how do they get their names out there?
We give them tickets and then they send their secretaries to come to the table.
Yes.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
They get their name on a sign. They get to give some swag, maybe that's in a bag.
We've mentioned their name once in the program.
Oh, in the program.
Yeah.
So this is not like our favorite ways to do this.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, they really only get like maybe 3 or 4 different touch points within that. And they still give you thousands of dollars for your sponsorship. But now, like you had said with the Elton John live stream, they were selling advertisement. That's what you're doing. You're selling advertisement. It's impressions is what your sponsor wants. I mean, that's one of the things that they want. They want marketing impressions. But when you create a true philanthropic partnership with your sponsors, they are a part of your mission. So it's making a deeper connection there.
So, and I also think that your sponsors, this is another way that we're going to talk about this, but the sponsors are an ability to create an urgency at an event. And this is something that we're going to see a huge transition of with the wealth transfer these next few years, is that over the past couple of years, an emotional tug was what made everybody give. We told an emotional story and then we asked for money. Like everybody's done that method. I mean, so that has always been our way of giving. And that's been always our thing. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm completely emotionally drained. I don't want to hear an emotional story right now. And on top of that, that's been happening over the past couple of years. And especially being election year, I know we're not supposed to talk about it in the fundraising world, but it's happening. And we've been preaching this for a little bit, probably about the last 9 months, we've noticed a major shift in it. But this is a great way to change the focus of the emotional moment to more of a moment of urgency.
Right.
So this is important to create a reason to give. So people are thinking about different ways that they're giving, different organizations they're giving to, they're exhausted. They need to know why they need to give you money now. So here's a fantastic opportunity for a sponsor, a match, a challenge match. I love a challenge match. It's my favorite thing in the universe, because I'm going to use Fleet Bank because they've been out of business for a million years. So Fleet Bank is going to match you for, if we can get 10 people to give us at the $1,000 level right now, Fleet Bank is going to match it. Now, I've just said their name 3 times. You're all thinking about it over a live broadcast. What better advertisement is that for a sponsor versus like, here's the sign.
Yeah. Or they're in the program, or their name's on the PowerPoint, whatever it could be. And this is where we start to think bigger. We think, more connected that we are on the internet, the more impressions that you can create and the more value that you can give to your sponsors. And here's what's great, because okay, so Fleet Bank, and all of a sudden in the chat, fleetbank.com comes up in the chat. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, wow, I love what they do. I'm glad that they're connected with my favorite nonprofit. You know what? I'm going to click in and I'm going to see. And you can actually track these different click-throughs. I mean, there's a lot of different technologies that you can do that. But now, what a better way to measure the ROI of your sponsors, to give them that analysis report. Like, how many people tuned into your live stream? How many people saw the impressions on your Facebook page? How many people liked it on Instagram? How many times did people click through into their website? And then you can give them this report. Like, look, this is the marketing report.
Like, how is your gift leveraged?
Yes.
And there's major gift donors out there that want their gift leveraged. We don't want to just give $1. I want my dollar to mean more to you. I want it to touch more people. So now it makes $2. And that's what I want to know happens. And I have the right to say that. So, whatever the bank is can stand up there, or the gas station, or the Smiths, or whomever it's going to be, and say, well, we raised them an extra $50,000 because we gave 50,000 and they matched it, and we got 5 more people to donate, whatever the numbers are. But it's a really great opportunity, and it's a great way to share that messaging. And so think about the ways people are giving this year is much different than they've given years prior.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And again, there was actually a question that talked about the stuff and having the stuff auction later in the year. That's great, but this is the heart of fundraising, is how do you tap into the heart of your donors? How do you tap into the heart of your sponsors? How can you stand out from the crowd? We say this all the time. It's not who has the best story. And yes, nonprofit friends, you have amazing stories, but it's who tells the best story.
Your story's the best.
Yes. And who creates the best production? Who creates that best engagement experience that happens virtually? How can you then stand out? I don't want to scare you, but remember at the galas, we see it all the time from the stage, the video goes on, the room goes dark, and all of a sudden, like 20 or 30 people get up and run out the door, right? And because they're not going to give you anyways. But if you're not creating an engaging experience within this production, literally they are a click away, like, gone. They're gone. And they're gone forever. But that's why you have to create a very amazing experience that people, they want to be a part of. They want to be inspired. They want to be engaged within, and they want to spend their time, their energy, and their dollars, within, that moments of time that you're creating in a virtual space. Because how many Netflix shows have we watched in the last 2 weeks?
Basically, you have to have the tiger at your event, obviously.
Or the Tiger King. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but that's true. So think about your events and your virtual events in really the entertainment. You have to think that behind your camera is a million gnats, right? Like they're just totally distracted. So you need to think about what that looks like, and how do we continue that advertisement, that marketing, and the excitement that continues in the room. Hey, we have that problem in a gala space when we're in a confined room, we have doors locked and we're keeping them in front of us and we still can't keep their attention. Right. We're using confetti cannons out there at our galas. Come to one of our events. They're super fun. Yes. But that's where we're trying to keep the excitement and the motivation. And you have to think about that in your event. And this is a great opportunity for you to keep that event exciting, keep different ways to do that. And there's different ways. And hey, you can use confetti cannons. You can use different video clips that come in and out. You can throw things to videos. You can have people, speaking in different areas of the room if you have to, or even virtually speaking at different times. There's ways to keep a program moving instead of one person up there staring at a camera. And I have to also remind you that it is terrifying to be the person staring at a camera, because we're sitting there there's nobody, we have no feedback, there's no laugh track. Like that joke might not have worked. Thanks for laughing. No, that felt good. Yeah. But think about that. So what is your room going to look like when you're creating your virtual event? What kind of feedback are those people going to get? And who are those people going to be? Because they're going to be out there needing some responses, and you need to make sure you've really got somebody up there that clearly understands mission, clearly understands your mission. I can't say that enough, because if they are up there saying the wrong thing and it is viral, it's on you.
So what you're saying is that we're broadcasting to millions of people, and if there's a Steve Harvey moment and that whomever is in front of the microphone and in front of your lens pulls that, it could get shared virtually and it could get shared virally, and that's not the viral that we want.
No, we want to be able to throw, and hey, people need a drink of water, they need a break, give them that space, let them have that thing. And then what you do is throw it to a co-host. I don't know if, I'm sorry if I'm jumping all over your PowerPoint, but I'd always encourage you to have at least 2 people on the video. But there's a lot of incredible webinars, but when we can work together, it does help. It helps us talk to each other. It helps us get a break when we need to take a drink, when we need to breathe, we need to reset our thoughts, whatever is happening. And also you might need to be throwing red flags up and being like, hey, make sure you talk about this, or, oh no, we got to move on from this topic.
So again, it's about creating that production. So I want to give some value back to our friends that are watching here, is how do you do this? It's setting that production, no matter if it's a post golf tournament, it's a post virtual walk, it's a gala, it's a luncheon, whatever. It's creating a space, 20 to 45 minutes. You got to look at Netflix. How long are the shows now? They're about 23 minutes. And that's about the time attention that you have. So what are the components that you put in there? You definitely need your sponsorship recognition. You definitely need your welcome. You need your why we're here. You need that inspirational moment. You need the call to action. You need the entertainment. And then you need that celebration and that gratitude moment. And it's building those pieces in there, whether you're broadcasting from a phone or you're using a high quality camera and production team that is putting in all of these commercials. They're putting in these video vignettes. They're putting the sponsor logos out there. They're putting the thermometer on the back of the wall, whatever it is, you're creating this experience. And then it's how are you broadcasting out? Yes, production, but then how are you engaging in? Like, we've had a great chat going on today. There's been some great Q&A coming in, but how could you really invite your attendees to be a part of your event and make them feel like they are a part of this? And it's thinking bigger. So you do have your restaurants. You could maybe have the restaurants deliver food to your VIP or your high-end donors. You could have the florist, instead of delivering the centerpieces, maybe they deliver flowers to all of these VIPs that are out there. Creating a virtual photo booth. Maybe you put up on a back wall, you've got your poster back there and people are taking selfies in front of that. Maybe you send them little swag. Maybe you send all the, the sponsors create something, maybe a custom etched wine glass. You could send bottles of wine, champagne, different things to really make people that are at home feel like they're a part of that, but then give them that opportunity to reach back into you. I mean, you could have a costume contest, you could have a hashtag contest, you could have a share contest, you could have all these different things to where people now are broadcasting back to you. And that's that engagement piece that you want. They want that instantaneous feedback. They want to be recognized as people. They want to be seen within this. And
I was just thinking about, our auction industry sent out these inside of our magazine national every year for the past couple of years. In the centerfold was this big poster board, and they would ask everybody to take pictures in spaces of auctions of them holding this sign and holding the name of the organization, the name of the auction company, the National Auction Association. So we were holding these signs and we would do them in goofy places, and then they shared all of these pictures. And so what if it was like, I'm going to gala so-and-so, and you sent it out before your event with the invitation, maybe something came in the mail, maybe they got a little goodie bag and they got to take these pictures. And then throughout the gala, the virtual gala, you're streaming some of those pictures. You've got a loop that's going to be showing up some of those faces of people that are watching from home.
Right. And the biggest opportunity here that I see within this is engaging the multi-generations that are out there. Now, yes, we talked about the non-tech savvy generation, our boomers that are with us, absolutely giving. There's a transference of wealth that's going to happen, but we have two little pitter-patter footsteps upstairs that are having some fun playing video games right now. And it's how do we engage the Zennial population? How do we engage that generation to be a part of this? At galas or golf tournaments or whatever, kids weren't able to attend, but now we're creating an opportunity in which all generations can join together and be a part of this. It's really exciting. So now we're instilling that culture of philanthropy to that next generations that have been raised to know that they can change the world. I know this
That's
super
my thing.
exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a psychological homeschooling that we're doing right now.
That's
creating the culture we want.
And that's absolutely right. And that's what another great opportunity about virtual events are. So we're going to move on. Let's move into any last questions. We're about
that question because we've got a few minutes left.
Yeah, we got about 5 more minutes left here. We talked about the stuff auction. Yes, please share some more questions with us. And Jamie, Mary, do you have any questions or any ideas of anything that we had not talked about?
I actually do have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So we're all in this predicament where we can't host physical events any longer. We all have to either cancel their event, postpone the event, or move towards hosting a virtual event. So my question is, how long? Because most of us haven't done anything like this before. How long does it take to put together a virtual event? Like, what's the
turnaround time? So the
timeline estimate as to how long something like that would take?
So the question was the timeline to create a virtual event. There was a virtual event that was created literally like March 1st. It was a good friend of ours up in the Northwest, and Portland pretty much, boom, nobody's going anywhere. All events are canceled. And then an organization 3 days later was like, oh, we have our gala. We need to do something. In 72 hours, they created a live stream. They put the technology to use, and they created a great experience that was out there.
So just be very clear here. They had been working for months on their gala.
You're right.
Their entire gala had been working. And again, this goes back to knowing your mission, knowing what you're doing, what you're selling, who you are. Their auctioneer was on point. She studies everything very intensely. So they were all ready to go to have a full on gala within 24 hours. So then they had to pivot it to the platform of it. So it's a pivot to the platform of it. So that was a different move for them, but it was important to know that they're set up, and there is a lot of importance to training your speakers and who's going to be on, as well as your items. So you can answer that. So yes, you can do it on a turn of a dime on if you had an event already scheduled, but really making sure that your back end is covered.
Yeah. So if you had, 2 or 3 weeks and you said, okay, we're going to have a virtual event here and we need to design this and we need to market this and we need to create this, you can do it in 2 weeks. You could do it in 3 weeks. You could do it in six weeks. But it's that timeline, and it's how much energy, how many dollars that you have to throw behind this. And then the technologies are already there, but it's just finding the right people to make, all of those connections. I mean, that's what Erin and I are so excited about. Our new industry is helping organizations like you to make those, connections that are within that, to save you time, to save you energy, and to create a great production that engages as many people as you could even imagine to be engaged with that. Anne or Jamie?
I actually have a question. This is Mary speaking. Have any of the virtual events that you guys have held had an honoree, or how have you handled that? I'm just kind of wondering what people's ideas are around that.
So you can still have the honorees. The question was, how do we still have an honoree engaged with this? And I mean, now here we are at the Safe at Home. I mean, you could pipe in, just as one of our great panelists here, board members could be a panelist of our Zoom, and then they can be there, here, I'm going to pass you the virtual, award, and then the honoree can then take the award and then make that presentation, make that speech. You could pre-tape a lot of this. I mean, a ton of this could be pre-produced, and then you're just plugging all of these pieces that are in there. And I know that our favorite thing at galas is the BS, the boring speech. No, you can mitigate a lot of that. So please, yes, you can still continue to engage your honorees, your business partners, however it is, give them that opportunity and that space to to be showcased. I mean, that's really what they want, is that exposure, but tapping in to their network is the
Right.
biggest.
I mean, hey, I want to honor an influencer right now, right? Don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You know, this is where they can advertise and they can really market to get people engaged and honor them. There really can be, they can get a box at their house delivered of all sorts of prizes and flowers and make them feel special, as well as, you know, showcasing this. So I think that that's a great way to really incorporate them with it. I also would be aware, in terms of your scheduling and your planning, to really looking at how things are changing in the world. You know, don't do an event this week because everybody's putting in their loan applications this week. Don't do an event November that day, whatever, Doomsday, that's happening. You know, so just be conscious of those types of things, but just be really thinking about your community, really. And I think that this is a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, for sure. And please, if you need to connect with us, ask us any questions. Tons of resources on our website, all over the place. I mean, again, we're recording this. We're going to share all the slides, you know, within this. It is our passion to help you create a better Long Island, or wherever you may be watching. But the events are what bring our communities together, whether they are live or they are online. So again, thank you to our AFP Long Island friends for having us today. Again, my name is Bobby D.
And I'm Erin with Inspire Hearts Fundraising, and we are very thankful to be a part and members of the AFP. So we're thankful to be here with you all today. Good luck, stay healthy, and keep happiness in your hearts through all of this.
Yes. All right. Throw that back to you, Anne.
All right. Thank you guys so much. This is really great. And I just love that you're sharing this positivity and this creative spirit that's really going to get us through, I think, a lot of the challenges that we're all facing. So thank you. And you've been such great friends to AFPLI. So thank you very much.
For sure.
And they're great. So use them. And stay tuned for more virtual events from the AFPLI. We'll try to roll out some more stuff while we're all home, taking advantage of these opportunities to educate ourselves too. So thanks again.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. All right, here we go. End meeting. Bye. Bye, everyone. All right, I got to go here.